Hi, everyone. Brain spotting stories from around the globe. And this is Noula Diamantopoulos. And I have the beautiful Kristy Snedden here today from North Georgia, right? Did I get that right?
Yeah,
Cool.
that's
And she will be speaking to us about an online journal that has been created by herself and a team of people, which is called Bone to Brain. But before we get into that, I would love for you, Kristy, to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
okay. My name is Kristy Snedden. I am a licensed clinical social worker. I fell into brain spotting in 2013 and went through a journey of getting certified and becoming a consultant. Became a consultant in 2020 and used brain spotting in my practice, which is all the way from very tiny, even infants, all the way to senior citizens. So I
Wow.
have a very broad practice. I'm in a rural area, and so I'm kind of a generalist, but with a specialty in trauma, of
Yeah,
course.
of course, right?
And how's that for starters?
Yeah,
For
that's beautiful. Thank you very much. And I'm going to ask you about this, uh, online journal that's been formed. And I'd love you to talk to me about how the name Bone to Brain came to being, as well as telling us a bit about what you do on Bone to Brain and who else is involved.
okay, so I'll tell you the origin story of Bone to Brain.
Yeah.
Um, I never wrote anything, any poetry until 2020 when the COVID hit, the pandemic hit. I started doing my own weekly brain spotting, and I suddenly started feeling compelled to write poetry. So that journey started happening for me, and I was so thrilled about it that within a couple of years, I started doing something called Brain Spotting Through the Poet's Eye, which is a webinar. And that led to doing some monthly groups with brain spotting therapists that use poetry for brain spotting and poetry, both for healing, but also to deepen the poetic process for people. So
Cool.
we've been doing that for a couple of years. And I also got very involved in some writing classes and had a fair amount of success with getting published, which was very exciting to me. And I really wanted to share that with other people. And what I found in my groups and in the webinars was people felt scared to submit to public for publication, which I understand. It's you're putting your heart out there, and there's a lot of rejection. The acceptance rates are fairly low. But I really wanted to encourage that because I was hearing beautiful stuff from people. And it won't surprise you as a creative that in these groups about poetry, people started bringing in their art. They started bringing in other kinds of writing. It's because it's all feeds into other areas. So that all led up to last July 2024. I woke up one morning from a dream, and in my dream was this idea to create an online journal for brain spotting therapists and for anyone who's been touched by the power of brain spotting, and to use it as a way so that these people that I was working with who have beautiful work to offer could get their work into the world, could share it with other people touched by brain spotting, could share their process about it. So I was really excited about it. And I tell you what, that same dream, the first name that came to me was Brain Spotting to the Bone.
Wow. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
And as I processed, so the next thing I did was talk to David about it because I didn't want to proceed without his support. He
Mhm.
was really excited and encouraging and do it, do it. We talked about how to put a team together and started working on that. I have an amazing team that's working with Bone to Brain. Um, but also I kept thinking about like the goal of the journal. Part of it is to have a place for people already exposed to brain spotting to share their work. But I also thought, what if we could use it to share about brain spotting more with the general public?
Uh-huh.
Because I would talk about it in my writing classes because the brain spotting really helps accelerate how much poetry comes out. So
Yeah.
I've done some groups outside of brain spotting that are for writers that use brain spotting in the group. So my idea was to think of a name for the journal that would attract people also from the general writing community to possibly join our community. So we went through brain spotting to the bone, and then for a while it was brain to bone and bone to brain. But I really felt bone to brain is more the neuroexperiential model where everything starts in the body and rises up
Yeah.
into all the other connections. So does that
Wow.
answer your question?
Yes, it does beautifully. So, I might say at this point that this is an online journal for creatives, people who are doing, brain spotting. And I know that you've got submissions coming up too,
Yes.
right? Which we're going to have a link for that. And you submit poetry, prose, artwork,
Yes. We
right?
are an international journal for poetry, prose, art, and healing.
There you
And
go.
we accept photographed art,
Yeah.
we accept poetry, we accept fiction and creative nonfiction. And we just started in our first issue, we didn't have this, but in our next issue, we have something called a Kids Corner, where if people either know kids who've done brain spotting, or it might be kids who are in therapy who want to share some of their art or writing, that's a special place for them. So we're excited about that.
And I imagine this is just going to keep growing too, Kristy, because it's evolving. It's just,
Uh, we just started, yeah.
yeah, it just started and I'm excited. That's why one of the reasons I was excited to bring you, being a creative myself, is to get those creative juices going, and you've provided a space and a place for that to land and be shared with others. So I'm very grateful for that idea of yours and for your team that are, putting in this, enormous investment into it, personal
Mhm.
investment into it. Can you give me a description, like if I was to open up your online journal, what would I see?
So you could actually see it by going to www.bonetobrain.com, and it's
Yeah,
right there on the homepage. Our very first issue was February 2025.
right.
You would see a beautiful picture of a young black boy having fun in a fountain.
Yeah,
That actually our art editor took that picture and generously let us use it for our first cover. In
yeah.
America, February is Black History Month,
Ah,
so
right.
that's meaningful for us as Americans.
Yeah.
Then if you open the journal, what you'll see are poetry,
Mm,
art, creative nonfiction. It just depends where in the journal you go. It's like a flip book. It has the table of contents. You can click
right.
and go where you want, or
Yeah.
you can, and I would highly recommend reading the entire thing. But
Awesome.
you can also just look down at the authors and see, you might know someone that has something in there.
Right.
Click and see what they have in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And are there any uh you know reflections on any brain spotting things in there?
Yes. So, what we invite people to do when they submit is, if they're moved, to share with us in a cover letter something about the process they went through, the creative process with brain spotting to create the piece. And many
Wow.
people did that and gave us permission to publish it.
Wow.
So, a lot of times you'll open it, and on one side, you'll see a brief bio of the person, and then you'll also see their creative process. And the next page will be whatever it was, whether it was art or a poem or creative nonfiction.
Right. So it's sharing the brain spotting in and their creative process in how it might have activated or ignited whatever it is that they've produced,
Yes,
you know?
yes. And some people, their poetry is actually about brain spotting, which is really
Huh,
fun to read.
that's cool.
Someone submitted a beautiful piece that I love, that's about her experience as a brain spotting therapist and healing from a pretty massive environmental crisis. And that was that, you just have to read it to see. I don't want to give too much of it away.
I know. And what feedback have you received so far from people about, bone to brain?
So far, what I've gotten is a lot of emails of gratitude and support, which really warms me, because this is you know, just something I'm doing from my heart that I wanted to offer to the brain spotting community.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been
Yeah.
really well received. We post for social media when the submissions are open and encouraging people to submit. And the other thing we're doing is every, I don't know, 1 or 2 or 3 weeks, I send out an email with just one piece of art or
Nice.
one poem that was in the current issue. And the contributors have contacted me, really grateful that because that gets their work out a little bit more, you know. It's
Yeah.
out in the journal, but then we also have a subscription list, and that's who we send that email to. So
Got it.
anyone like to just read a poem every once in a while or see a piece of art, that
Mm.
subscription list is gets you that.
Absolutely. And I'm going to have the links to your website and the subscription link, for them as well. And and I really encourage people to subscribe, to have this uh additional I'm just gonna call it source of inspiration,
Yeah.
moving into the creative and expressive arts fields, and see what it does for you. And I'm sure that we have a lot in my own community here, a lot of creatives here. So I'm going to encourage you. I'm saying, talking to you right now, to get in there and go and subscribe. Not only subscribe, submit. You know,
It, absolutely. And in fact, I met you because I kind of came in to hear something that Heather and Cherie were doing, and then I was
exactly.
like, nobody has sent anything from Australia. I'm going to talk to her about bone to, and here we are now.
Here we are now, and you've got the right
We
person.
very
Really
much want
creative.
this to be an international
Yes, yes.
journal. So we do really appreciate any submissions from your neck of the planet.
Thank you. The other thing I think that's an important and significant contribution that your online journal is making is that as therapists, the work that we do is um, can be quite heavy at times,
And
and
yeah,
and
uh-huh.
not only just the work that we're doing, but also the readings and the study that we do. It is full on, whether we're reading academic journals or books, and studying, etc., etc. To have the creative element in as well, it's a reprieve. It's like,
Mhm,
look, not only is it a reprieve, it's not about relaxation and stuff. It's a reprieve to look at something with another lens,
mhm, mhm.
through another lens, and just to fill our hearts up and make it and allow us. It's when I say fill, it's like to fuel our hearts, so we can
Yes,
continue going.
that's what I think and hope as well. It's like a support, really. When
Mm,
you read things that other people have written and you recognize, oh, these are other people touched by brain spotting who are kind of like me and
yeah,
creative and
yeah.
all this. So yeah.
Yeah. It's a very important part, I think, like the creative and expressive arts to the healing process. So that
Hmm.
healing is not only for our clients, but for us too.
Yeah. Yeah.
For us to receive some as well, and to feel connected. And it's another way in that connection to creating this kind of community. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're very welcome. And I think I can say for myself and my team that we thank the community for welcoming us because we meet at least once a month.
Yeah.
And it's such a great time for all of us because we're all creatives and here we are with other creatives. And like you said, it's different than doing therapy, you
Yes.
know, the
Yes.
different lens. And it's
Yeah.
just really thrilling to that we've been able to come together to offer it and that we've been so welcomed by the community.
And is there any subscription fee that people have to pay?
Nope, everything we're doing this all volunteer basis and everything is free to submit and free to subscribe and free to read it,
So
Yeah.
it's a no bone to brainer, really.
Can I quote you on that? That's a good one. Mm.
I'm absolutely thrilled. So, and I don't know if people can who may not be aware the amount of time that it takes to edit to receive submissions, to review them, to edit an online publication. You've got to format it. You've got to curate those pages.
Yeah, one person on our team is my fabulous helper, Katie Howell, and she's kind of saved our life with that because she's
Right.
really good with all of that stuff.
It
I
is
do the editing together and I put it together, but she makes it look
look
really.
good because
Mhm.
that's an art form in itself. So people can
That is.
appreciate the amount of time that goes into producing something like this. Yeah. So I have a personal thing about everybody getting their creative on. Creativity is a powerhouse that we have as individuals. And if you think that you're not creative, think
You
again.
know, one thing I realized early in my journey of going to weekly brain spotting, my therapist was very interested in my creative process.
Mhm.
And I started being very interested in the creative process of my clients in a more overt way than I had before, like pretty much all the time asking, what's happening with your creativity?
Yeah.
And people came up with such fabulous stuff that people who started out saying, I have no creativity. But I would keep asking and be patient and wait and keep asking. I ended up with someone who's very creative with baking, someone who used to do all this cartooning, and now in his retirement years, he's gone back to cartooning. And just you don't know what people are going to come up with. But like David says, everybody has creativity, and there is no healing without creativity.
No healing without creativity, absolutely. And I think where we might get blocked on that is the way we've defined the word, because a lot of people, have associate being creative with being an artist.
Right, right.
And there are two different things. I mean, an artist, first of all, and I know in ordinary language we say, everybody's an artist, but really an artist is a career. You know,
Hmm.
just like the difference between a chef and a cook. You could have an amazing cook who could
Hmm.
be a chef, but isn't, because the chef is a career, right?
Right, right, right.
But our creativity comes out in so many ways, and I would like people to reflect as well, and those reflections can become poetry or prose, as to how they have been, for example, with their clients and what has come to them out of nowhere,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
somewhere, but nowhere, right?
Right.
And how they have received that and what they have done with that is a creative process,
Mhm.
that comes
Absolutely.
through our attunement as well, the way that we attune. There is some
Our attunement and the frame and receiving the client's frame and how that's shaped, the whole thing, the neuroexperiential model to me is so suited to, I mean, you can't have the neuroexperiential model without having creativity.
you
You know,
can't,
it's
you can't,
it's weaves all through it.
you can't. So this will help people start rethinking, even if they would, I'm just going to encourage my community right now
Sure,
to,
sure, go.
to even doodle stuff, doodle your thoughts, just make marks on paper and things, and just notice what comes up and out of that, in David's words. You do that because now you're engaging your body, as
Mm-hmm.
well as whatever is present in your thoughts, etc. And then the alchemy takes place.
Mm-hmm.
And not to see it really as an outcome, but to see it, as you've already said, as a process. The power is the creative process.
Mm-hmm.
That's what neuroexperiential is. It's a process, you
Yeah,
know.
I love your use of the word alchemy there.
Yeah.
Because that it when creativity, when people are in the flow, there is an alchemy that happens that's very hard to convey except if people experience it.
Got to experience
Neuroexperiential,
the
you know.
experiential vibe.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And so that's creative. And if you
Mhm.
look at the word creative, it's a verb. It's something there is something in the making to
Right.
create, the
Yes.
making of healing, for example, or the making
Hmm.
the opportunity of healing, the space for that, the making of the space for healing. That's creative. And for me, changing our lens from words and thinking, because I know poetry, for example, and I love poetry. It comes from another place. It uses the words, but it doesn't come from here,
Right.
It comes from another
I,
place.
I have another quote that David gave me,
Yeah.
and I don't think it's like it may not be neurologically factual, but what he said is that poetry is the closest the subcortical system gets to language.
Yes. I personally, I would agree 100% because that's storytelling. It's like storytelling, right?
Yes. Yes.
Right. And so narrative therapy, for example, yeah, because
Mhm.
I know how I am if I start talking to someone and they're talking to me from here, which becomes almost a debate. So at times it's either a debate
Right.
or exchange of information, like
No, 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 no,
and
no.
then, right. So it's not. It's like it's functional.
Good. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, there's nothing. There's no spring of anything coming, into me. It's just like, yeah, I need to go and do that, or yes, I'm going to go read that, or it could become like if it's a debate, like it's this somebody has to be right, somebody has to be wrong. I don't do well in those situations because I'm a seeker. I seek to understand, not to
Mm-hmm.
win. I'm not interested in winning. There is no right and wrong on this planet. There
Right.
just is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what
Yeah.
I love to understand you. I love to understand your what. Don't have to agree with it, but I want to understand you. So poetry does that for me. If I read the words of poets, it's like, yes,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
um that brightens my heart. That is my teacher. Those
Mm-hmm.
words become my teachers.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
And as someone who writes poetry, so often I find I'll start writing and I don't even know what happens, but by the end of the poem, I have processed something in a completely different way than where I started.
that
Yeah.
that's exactly right. Yeah. So it is limitless what accessing your creative process um, can provide for us. The first acknowledgement is to realize that you have and you are, in the broader sense of the word, creative. As
Mm-hmm.
you've mentioned, you cook, you garden, the way you dress yourself.
Uh-huh. I was thinking about a couple people that their creativity is so in their presentation to the world.
Yeah. The way that even the words that you use, the way that you speak, all of that kind of stuff. Um, then if that's why I encourage doodling and stuff, you can allow your body to engage with that differently. Right? So
Mm-hmm.
it moves through you in movement. Dancing is creative, you know,
Yes, yes,
you know,
absolutely. Well,
singing.
my co-poetry editor teaches like a dancing therapeutic healing thing.
I
Yeah. Uh-huh.
love body movement. I love dancing. It's sometimes very hard for me if music starts to not move.
Mm-hmm.
My body
Mm-hmm.
just wants to respond to that immediately. Um, and it's yes, it's fun. It can be light of heart. It can be rejuvenating, but it is more.
Mm-hmm.
Our imagination gets activated through these processes. Our
Mm-hmm.
imagination then accesses possibility thinking.
Yes.
Possibility thinking brings us to different types of solutions that we may want to pursue. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Because there is no such thing as one right answer.
Exactly.
And that's what this one does.
Right. Right.
And it's
Uh-huh.
like, okay, you can do that, but there's others. There are other ways. And what I noticed, because I've been in the expressive arts field for since 1998, however long that is.
Mm-hmm.
And I have, because I've been running workshop, creating, developing, running my own expressive arts, personal development, and now moving into the therapeutic spaces, workshops throughout that period. So I have seen many people, when they've opened this up, realize what has stopped them from even
Mm-hmm.
considering that they are creative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sometimes I don't know what you found, but for people I've worked with, often it seems like we almost have to go back to childhood to see where that creativity kind of got smushed or not understood or harmed in some way, and then invite the person to bring that back,
I
you know?
love that. I love it. You reminding me of what happens in our schools. It's like when we're little, we're encouraged. Like kids do these crazy drawings of, that's mommy, that's daddy. And it's like, okay,
Uh-huh.
kind of
Uh-huh.
thing, right? But they're encouraged. It's really great. Do some more, And then at some point, at around whatever it is, 11 or 12, it's like, oh, you've colored outside the lines.
Right.
Trees aren't blue.
Mm-hmm.
There's
Mm-hmm.
a judgment on it. There's a right and wrong on it, right?
Right.
And there it
Absolutely.
is. There it
Mm-hmm.
begins, if not earlier. You know.
Yep. Yep.
So, and it's something that's innate with us. It's innate that we are this.
Right. And I think if we're out of touch with it, as I was for so many years, I feel like I just missed a giant part of myself that I could have been carrying with me,
Yeah,
And
yeah,
I have something I want to share about my brain spotting journey. I
yeah.
keep saying to people that, well, the poetry started for me in 2020, but I realized when I was thinking about it that in 2017, I was in an intensive at one of those 5-day things.
Yeah.
And I was like taking my turn as the client. And in the middle of the process, I would suddenly was like compelled to recite this poem that I had memorized in Turkish. Like I had to listen. I don't know why. And then I did the English translation as well. It was a short poem. But when I look back on that now, I think to myself, that was my brain telling me poetry, go to the poetry.
Go to the
And
poetry.
another 3 years before it really flowered for me. But it's just so fascinating,
That's beautiful. Can you still remember it? Can you say a few lines in Turkish,
Oh, absolutely. I'm
please?
so glad you asked.
Mm-hmm.
Should I just say it?
Yes, please.
It's a poem called The Dream by Orhan Veli.
Mhm.
Ruhe. Anemi olmuş görüm rüyamda. Alayarak uyanmışım. Hatırlattı bana bir bayram sabahı. Gökyüzüne kaçırdım balonuma bakıp alayışıma. I
Wow.
think I say it with a southern accent, unfortunately.
For
But
me, it's not that, it's the energy, Kristy, that
yeah,
that was carried. That was beautiful.
good. Well, thank
That
you.
was beautiful. That
It's
was
a beautiful poem.
that was a moment. I'm going to look that one up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a
Thank you
beautiful.
for that. Thank you
Yeah,
so much
you're
for that.
welcome.
Yeah.
You're very
Woo. Okay, so I'm now lost for words. So everybody know that you are creative. Know that it's about you accessing it. Know that you actually have a creative process and you can learn what that process is. We've all got unique processes. Sometimes people have to clean their, organize their kitchen cutlery before they can go and pick up something to do that's correct. And that's part of the process. Don't think that it's an avoidant or otherwise. But I would just love if you can and encourage everybody to subscribe, you know.
well, and I was thinking one more thing I want people to know is that now we have a platform where your creativity can land if you want to share it with other people touched by brain spotting. And that really is to me like that's such a beautiful thing when people share it with us and then when we can share it with the broader community.
Beautiful.
So, yeah.
Ah, thank you, Kristy. Thank you.
You're very
Um,
welcome. Thank you for having me.
now is my absolute pleasure. And what a beautiful way to start my day with another creative in a creative conversation. Thank you.
Great. Great.
Bye, everybody. We'll see you soon.
Bye.